Good morning, all, depending when you're watching this. Good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio, and because we've been really busy with news lately, we haven't kept up on some of the card reveals from, well, Sword and Shield 7 over in Japan, that being Skyscraping Perfect and Blue Sky Stream. So, rather than trying to spend the next, several days doing 5 videos a day, we are going to go lightning round, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to take a look at all of the cards we've not yet looked at. I haven't actually counted them up yet, but I want to put it in the title so you'll know from me. So let's start off all the translations here from the lovely Antoine Boulet. So let's start off with Eiscue. It's got that annoying 120 HP, the stats aren't particularly great. 1 water energy, 20 damage is extremely uninspiring, although I adore the artwork. But 3 energy, 70 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. It means that even if your opponent switches their active, as long as a new active is a basic, you will still have protection. This is actually awesome. Against an all-basic deck, you just win the first time you attack with this. Honestly, the biggest issue, and it is a pretty big issue, is that nowadays V-decks are not seeing a huge amount of play. It's V-maxes mostly, and that is going to hurt. Lucky Popsicle is an item card that heals 20 from your active Pokemon. Then you flip a coin. If heads, you put it from your discard pile into your hand. Oh no! It's really kind of cool. I don't know if it's going to actually be good enough because 20 damage isn't great for healing. And if you flip tails, it's just heal 20. I love the design of it. Turns out I was speaking to the lovely Antoine Boulet. These win if you get the lucky Popsicle stick are apparently much more popular in Japan than they are in other countries. We've shown you some Pokemon things along those lines on this very channel. So I don't think it's a great card, but there are going to be some pre-releases which are completely ruined by this. Now, sticking with the ice theme, we've got a couple other ice Pokemon. I know that there's a big ice contingent to this video. We've got a new Galarian Darmanitan. Now here you're at 130 HP, which is nice. That's going to survive a bunch of hits. And for 1 water, 1 colorless energy, you do 30 damage plus sleep. Okay, that's alright. It's not great. It's alright. That'll do. It's a bit too expensive, honestly. But having said that, time you build in stuff like Melanie and Frostmoth, it's alright. I don't really ever want to use this, but I do like sleep. If it wasn't water and so easy to get the energy on, I wouldn't like it. But with getting the water energy on, I think we can say rather not terribly mean things about it. What I do like is 2 water, 1 colorless, 130. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack can be used for 1 water energy. Okay, cool, yeah, now I'm in. 130 damage, single water energy, yes. Because it doesn't have to be a water energy. It could be an Aurora energy. This is a stage 1 Pokemon that can be teched into basically any deck. And all of a sudden, you've now got an answer. And that's brilliant. An answer to what? I don't know. An answer to any Pokemon with 130 HP or less. An answer to any Pokemon that has a weakness to water. I really like this one. In terms of getting the damage on there, we've got a few options. I quite like Old Cemetery. When you attach an energy to a non-psychic Pokemon, you take 2 damage counters. So that'll work. There's other ways to do it, of course. I mean, pre-rotation, we got Jinx to just move a damage counter over, but let's be clear, we're never actually going to use this and Jinx in the same deck because Jinx is going to rotate when this comes out, which is sad. But this is a fun little card. I like it. 130 for 1 energy has a lot of potential. I know we are doing a roundup here, but these are not all trash cards, let's be clear. I think there's a lot of potential with Eiscue, and there is with Galarian Darmanitan as well. Now, Cryogonal is a basic Pokemon. 90 HP is low, but do remember Level Ball is a thing. So that's actually not too bad. And the damaging attack here is absolute garbage. 2 energy, 30, let's not worry. But for 1 water energy, you look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Choose any number of basic energy you find and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. In the early game, turn 1 going second, etc., this is awesome. I mean, if we're willing to play something like Volcanium, to search our deck for free energy and attach them, we should be willing to play something like this. No, I don't think this is better than Volcanion. Volcanion has the damaging attack, which is really good, and guarantees free if you go second. But then again, if you don't go second, and it's not your first turn, you're only getting one, Cryogonal can get loads, it can get loads any turn, and it's searchable with Level Ball. Again, we might be doing a roundup here. These ain't bad cards, ladies and gentlemen. But I'll tell you something for nothing, the best among them might be Pumpkaboo. Pumpkaboo's got the ability Pumpkin Pit. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may discard a stadium in play. Now, essentially, this is rubbish Marshadow. And I am not going to sit here and insult you guys by suggesting this is even remotely on the same level of good as Marshadow. It's not. Marshadow is a billion times better. Because Marshadow sits on your bench and you can wait until there's a stadium you want to get rid of. And also when Marshadow gets rid of the stadium, it frees up the bench space. Pumpkaboo sits on the bench, and not only does it sit there, but you've got to have it at the right turn. You've got to have it in hand and play it when there's a stadium you want to get rid of. Marshadow is way better than Pumpkaboo, and is rotating when Pumpkaboo comes out. And the fact of the matter is, it is a searchable Pokemon, and again, 60 HP is very searchable, which lets you get rid of a stadium. Level Ball, get rid of a stadium. Quick Ball, get rid of a stadium. Stadiums are big, and they are often central to the format, and a lot of decks have played Marshadow as a one-off to counter stadiums. No, Pumpkaboo ain't as good. But in a format where we don't have Marshadow, it doesn't really matter if it's as good or not, because it's your only option. And when it's your only option, this ain't bad, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't bad. Gourgeist is coming along as well. Maybe you want to evolve your Pumpkaboo. 2 colorless energy. Reveal the top 6 cards of your deck. This attack does 60 damage for each psychic Pokemon revealed in this way. Shuffle the psychic Pokemon back into your deck and discard the other cards you revealed. So as time goes by, your deck will be more and more psychic Pokemon. You can use Twin Energy, which is awesome, but remember that by the time we get this, Triple Acceleration Energy will have rotated. That sad, Boo, Hiss, etc. It's like Gyarados, by which I mean it's Gyarados. And the problem is, Gyarados didn't work. This is the Gyarados from Team Up, incidentally, that for 1 energy did 30 damage, plus 30 more for each water energy in the top 7 cards of your deck. Now, I will say that the damage on Gourgeist here is a little bit higher, but it's a bit of a gimmick deck. I want it to work. It can, if you hit 6 psychic Pokemon, you'll do 360 damage, and that will be enough to get a 1-hit KO on a VMAX. I want it to work. I just don't think it's going to, and that makes me a little bit sad. Now, Victini is a Pokemon I am super keen on. I love Victini, and I want to like this card. Now, the 60 HP is absolutely atrocious, but then again, it is Victini. 2 colorless energy, 30 damage. You may search your deck for up to any 2 cards and put them into your hand. And the weird thing is, we've seen this before. We've just seen it on much, 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 much bigger Pokemon. Like, for instance, Charizard and Braixen. Yeah, that's right. I'm bringing out a Charizard and Braixen reference. Remember how that card was supposed to be really good and ended up not being? That makes me sad. 4 energy, 180, search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. Well, this is 1/6 of the damage and only searches 2 cards rather than 3. But Twin Energy. You can attach a Twin Energy to Victini and use this right away. Similarly, we could take a look at Togekiss VMAX. Look for 2 energy, but that can't use Twin Energy. 120 damage and search any 2 cards. And neither Charizard and Braixen nor Togekiss VMAX have proven to be particularly great. And the deal essentially is this. If you're playing Twin Energy, this is a phenomenal tech. You ain't building a deck around Victini. But if you're playing Twin Energy, anytime you can get a KO with Victini, you want to take a KO with Victini, and you can search any 2 cards. You are leaving a 60 HP liability, and the chances are it is going to go and get KO'd, and that's a little bit sad. But let's ignore that just for a moment. If I can take a KO while searching any 2 cards, there has got to be some potential here. Tropius says a tiny amount of potential, and it's not for the low HP, and it's not for the free energy 100 damage. But 2 energy, 30 damage, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out by an opponent's attack during your last turn, this attack does 90 more damage. Now this reminds me very much of one of my very favourite cards ever in the history of the game, the Terrakion that originally came around in Noble Victories. Terrakion basically had the same attack but did 30 less damage. It only did 90. But it did the exact right amount of damage to get a 1-hit KO on a Darkrai, and that's why it was amazing. Properly amazing. That's not the case here. I mean, the best Grass Week Pokemon we're going to have is Umbreon, but you're not getting Umbreon V Max. You get Umbreon V, but you won't get Umbreon V Max. Now, the good news is, if you want to accelerate the energy, Cherim will be your boy, but I'm going to be honest with you here. Unless we get a Grass Week Pokemon with 240 or less HP, I don't think this is going to end up being good enough, which is sad because it's basically my boy Terrakion. Now, there's another weird item card we can take a look at here. It is Swap Cups. It is switch a card from your hand with the top card of your deck. It is literally an item version of Oranguru. But Oranguru does this every turn, and also Oranguru is not going to rotate out when we hit the rotation. So for at least a year, this is garbage. And even after that, I like this effect on a basic Pokemon that I can use at every turn. I do not like it on an item card. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There's a new Absol coming along. Now, Absol, free energy, 80 damage. Ain't no one getting excited about that. At least I'm not. But for 2 colorless energy, you can switch one of your opponent's bench with their active and do 30 to the new active. The problem is 30 damage isn't KOing anything. So, I'm not loving it. I mean, honestly, every time we see an attack like this, a drag them up attack, I just keep going back to the Oricorio from Celestial Storm. That for 1 energy, switched them and then they were burned and confused. That to me is still the gold standard, and I don't think this really comes close. The fact that it's 2 energy, so you've got to use something like a twin energy. The fact that you're only doing 30 damage. I mean, you're not even close to getting a Snom, for goodness sake. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think this is going to work. There is a new Hariyama coming. Now, Hariyama is a single strike Pokemon, and I love the ability. Firstly, 140 on stage 1 is great, but I love the ability. If this Pokemon would be knocked out by damage from an attack, flip a coin. If heads, it is not knocked out and its remaining HP becomes 10. And unlike some of the things we've seen in the past, it doesn't say if this Pokemon has full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an attack. It is just if it would be damaged by an attack. And that means that essentially, unless your opponent flips a heads, they ain't ever getting a KO here. Like, they have got to flip heads to get a KO. And they will. And there will be games where they always flip heads and it's going to be super annoying and you're going to be very sad. And when that happens, I'm sorry. But there are also going to be a bunch of games where your opponent can't flip heads. There are going to be entire pre-releases which are won purely on the basis of you flipping heads on this over and over again. And that's amazing. The attack free energy 100 isn't great, but remember you're a single strike Pokemon. So firstly, you can add damage with single strike energy. Secondly, you can accelerate single strike energy using Houndoom. So actually, you can get the extra energy on quite easily, and you can do a whole bunch of extra damage So I love this, especially like in the late game. You play Karen's Conviction, you do an extra 20 damage for each prize card your opponent's taken, especially if you've got like a couple single strike energy on here, and the damage you take from Houndoom really isn't important because your opponent's still got to flip heads to get a KO. There's a chance you can take a couple KOs in a row and win. Like, let's say your opponent's taken 5 prizes. You play Karen, and you've got 2 single strike energy on here, you're hitting 240, and if your opponent attacks you and you flip heads, you don't go down, like 1 or 2 heads can win the game. I told you, some of these cards, we're doing a roundup, some of these cards are really good. This is one of them. Now, Wobbuffet is another single strike Pokemon that a bunch of people like an awful lot more than I do. For 3 energy, 70 damage, not loving it. For 2 colorless energy, again, remember twin energy is a thing, you choose one of your bench Pokemon and put as many damage counters on the defending Pokemon as there are on the Pokemon you choose. So if you've got 20 damage counters on a bench Pokemon, you can use Wobbuffet to put 20 damage on your opponent's active. And on the one hand, this can be really good. On the other hand, this is just another one of those that I don't like it, and it might just be a personal thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's too much in my opponent's control. And that to me is a problem. And sure, there'll be some games where they have to do big attacks, and maybe I've got a VMAX and it's not KO'd, but I don't think you're going to be taking KOs with Wobbuffet very often. I think there's going to be a bunch of games where you can do an impressive sounding amount of damage, but it's not actually enough to get a KO, and it's going to end up being disappointing. Now, we're out of single strike Pokemon to talk about, but we do have a rapid strike Cloyster we can have a chat about. Now, the attack says you take 30 less damage from attacks, which is alright. It's an attack we've seen a million times on a million different Pokemon, but it's still really cool. And it's got the 130 HP, which you know by now we like. 1 attack, 2 energy, 60 damage, plus 30 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 60 to the active and 30 to 2 bench. Okay, that's not bad. And again, you're a water Pokemon, so you've got Frostmoth, or you got Melanie. But you're also a Rapid Strike Pokemon, so this is just a Rapid Strike Energy, because Rapid Strike Energy will provide water. So here, actually, you attach a Rapid Strike Energy and you're doing 60 to the active, 30 to 2 bench. I don't think this is a great attack. I don't think it's amazing. But there are going to be some games where this comes in really, really handy. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our roundup for the moment. Couple of item cards, bunch of Pokemon. So now you know what's coming. And like I keep saying, yes, this is a roundup, but that Eiscue looks very interesting. That Galarian Darmanitan looks kind of interesting. That Cryogonal looks kind of interesting. That Pumpkaboo looks good. That Gourgeist could be fun. There's potential in that Victini. And I really like that Hariyama. And to be fair, that Cloyster ain't too bad either. That's a lot of good Pokemon. Like I say, with less news running around and more time on my part, maybe we could have had a bunch more videos, but we needed to catch up. Now we have, and I am a happy boy. But I want to know what you think about these, and I want to know which one of these are your favourites, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.